Climate change is messing with time more than previously thought, scientists found. This seems like it's going to be a short article. Well, I'm gonna do my absolute best to try to talk about it a little bit more. I will make a video about this because this is an interesting topic. I found it interesting. This is a Getty image. Okay, I'm gonna save it regardless. The impacts of human-caused climate change are so overwhelming they are actually messing with time, according to a new research. Polar ice melt caused by global warming is changing the speed of Earth's rotation and increasing the length of each day, in a trend set to accelerate over this century as humans continue to pump out planet-heating pollution, according to the study published Monday in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. I mean, that wouldn't be so bad. I mean, if the work days are still 8 hours, then if you have 1 extra hour to regenerate, then I mean, that's only a plus, you know. The changes are small. Okay, it won't be 1 hour then. Like 1 minute max. A matter of milliseconds a day. Okay, not even 1 minute. Boring. Not really. Actually very interesting. But in our high-tech, hyper-connected world, have an important impact on computing systems we have to come to rely on, including GPS. It's yet another sign of the huge impact humans are having on the planet. This is testament to the gravity of ongoing climate change, said Surendra Adhikari, a geophysicist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and a report author. Why is somebody who's working at a Jet Propulsion is doing research on this? Can somebody explain this to me? I mean, when you say a Jet Propulsion Laboratory, like, you would probably expect a scientist who would be versed into the propulsion, team, and not like into theme of time. I mean, it's kind of strange, it seems a bit like, what is she doing there? On one hand, this is quite important breakthrough. On the other hand, what is she doing at Jet Propulsion Laboratory? And how did she get to actually find this thing out? Like, was she doing this on her day offs, or like, was she doing this in work? The number of hours, minutes, and seconds making up each day on Earth are dictated by the speed of Earth's rotation, which is influenced by a complex knot of factors. These include processes in the planet's fluid core, the ongoing impact of the melting of huge glaciers after the last ice age, as well as melting polar ice due to a climate change. For millennia, however, the impact of the moon has dominated, increasing the length of a day by a few milliseconds per century. The moon exerts a pull on Earth, causing the oceans to bulge towards it, gradually slowing Earth's rotation. Scientists have previously made connections between polar ice melt and longer days, but the new research suggests global warming is a bigger influence on time than recent studies have shown. In the past, the impact of the climate change on time has not been so dramatic, said Benedikt Soja, a study author and assistant professor of space geodesy at the Swiss University ETH Zurich. Once again, ETH, like Ethereum Zurich. Wow. Ethereum is really conquering the world, don't you think? But that could be changing. If the world continues to pump out planet-heating pollution, climate change could become the new dominant factor, outpacing the moon's role, he told CNN. It works like this: as humans warm the world, glaciers and ice sheets are melting, and that's meltwater is flowing from the poles towards the equator. This changes the planet's shape, flattening it at the poles and making a bulge more and more in the middle, slowing its rotation. The process is often compared to a spinning ice skater. When the skater pulls their arm towards their body, they spin faster, but if they move their arms outwards away from their body, their spin slows. The team of international scientists looked at a 200-year period between 1900 and 2100 using observational data and climate models to understand how climate change has affected day length in the past and to project its role in future. They found the impact of climate change on day length has increased significantly. Climate change fueled sea levels rise caused the length of the day to vary between 0.3 to 1 milliseconds in the 20th century. Over the past 2 decades, however, the scientists calculated an increase in day length of over 1.33 milliseconds per century, significantly higher than at any time in the 20th century, according to the report. Milliseconds, huh? If planet heating pollution continues to rise, warming the oceans and accelerating ice loss in Greenland and Antarctica, the rate of change is set to soar, the report found. If the world is unable to rein in emissions, climate change could increase the length of the day by 2.62 milliseconds by the end of the century, overtaking the natural impact of the moon. It's barely 200 years. In barely 200 years, we will have altered the Earth's climate system so much that we are witnessing the impact on the very way Earth spins, Adhikari told CNN. I mean, 2.62 milliseconds simply does not sound enough to me to worry. It's quite fascinating topic. However, 2.62 milliseconds. Is that even a second? Probably not. It's 0.26 seconds if I remember correctly. I cannot say that I'm worried. I don't really see how this could be a problem. This would make 1 second in 5 centuries, which would make 2 seconds in 10 centuries. And these 2 seconds would be 20 seconds in 100 centuries, which would be 200 seconds in 1000 centuries, which is 10,000, 100,000 years. So I mean, yeah, in the long term, it will have an impact. However, in 100,000 years, we are either extinct or we are far beyond in technology. So this seems a bit fantastic article. It's a fascinating article. However, the tone CNN chose here was very fear-mongering, if anything. It's not that big of a deal. It will be big of a deal in many hundred thousands of years. However, in that time, our technology is going to be elsewhere, or we won't be here at all. I just put my work on the table. A few milliseconds of additional time a day may be imperceptible to humans, but it has an impact on technology. Precise timekeeping is vital for GPS, which everyone with smartphone will have, as well as other communication and navigation systems. These use highly precise atomic time based on the frequency of certain atoms. From the late 1960s, the world started using Coordinated Universal Time, UTC, to set time zones. UTC relies on atomic clocks but still keeps pace with the planet's rotation. That means at some point leap seconds needs to be added or subtracted to keep alignment with the Earth's rotation. Some studies have also suggested a correlation between increase in the day length and a increase in earthquakes, said Mostafa Kiani Sharwandi. I mean, there is nothing really confirmed on that topic. A study author and geoscientist at Ethereum Zurich, but the connection remains speculative and much more research needs to be done to establish any clear link. As I just said, it's not a fact, it's a theory, so tone it down a bit, CNN. Again, even then, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal. That comes from someone who studied IT a bit. Maybe it's a big of a deal, maybe there's something I don't see. However, I don't know, at this point I don't see like it's going to make an impact when 2 milliseconds per century, so like let's say 1 second, it will make an impact in like 5 centuries. Okay, 1 second, that's an impact, alright? By then we're gonna have a much better technology, so it won't be a problem. I assume. A paper on the same topic published in March concluded that bioclimate change was increasingly slowing the Earth's rotation. Processes in the Earth's core could be more important and actually speeding it up, shortening day length. What we have done is to go a little bit further and re-estimate these trends, said Shawande. They found any influence from molten core was outweighed by that of a climate change. Duncan Agnew, professor of geophysics at the University of California, San Diego, author of the March study, said the new study still meshes with his research and is valuable because it extends the results further into the future and looks at more than one climate scenario. Jacqueline McCreary, an assistant professor in physics in Northeastern University, who was not involved in the study, said the new research helps inform a decades-long debate over what role exactly climate change will play in changing the length of the day. While there is now a general agreement climate change will have a net lengthening effect on the day, she told CNN, there has still been uncertainty about which progresses affecting time will dominate this century. This study concludes climate change is now the second most dominant factor. She said somebody would have to explain to me just how much of an impact it's going to have according to these scientists. So somebody should just explain me in the comments just how much of an impact it should have according to these scientists, because I simply cannot see it. I cannot see it. I can see it in like several centuries that it's going to have an impact. However, by that time, as I said, we're gonna either have the technology or we won't be at all. It is a sobering conclusion, said Ethereum Zurich Soja. We have to consider that we are now influencing Earth orientation in space so much that we are dominating effects that have been in action for billions of years. No, that's simply a fantastic thing to say. That's an outrageous thing to say. How even dare you say we are the most dominating effects? We only assume a lot from the history throughout the observations. We have not lived there. We do not know how things were back then. We, with our impact on the climate, are the most dominant effect that have been in action for billions of years. I press doubt. And effects like the major volcanic activity in Siberia that almost destroyed the life on Earth probably had much larger impact than the asteroid hitting the Earth in Cretaceous period probably also had a bigger impact. I know you're saying it so people people get riled up a bit more. However, this is a little bit of fear-mongering in my opinion, and I think a little bit more of a research is necessary before we jump to these pompous proclamations.